Are we? Yes. Hi there. I am Adam Kivas, and I am here in Ordu in Turkey. This is a small. Now, while it is a town on the Black Sea, in the Black Sea region. It is December, the end of December, the end of a year. It is summer. Now it is actually winter, but it is compared to Europe, it is a summer. God damn it! It is some sort of a autumn, still autumn. So it is actually pretty much warm here in Ordu in Turkey. We are heading towards a new year, so today is Sylvester. I don't know how things will turn out here in Turkey, because as far as I know, there are no restrictions on how to celebrate Sylvester and so on and so forth. I mean, what a year it was. It was actually, from my point of view, I would say, a very productive year. I was 1 year in Turkey. Before that, I was 1 year in Austria. In Austria, I did not accomplish much. I did not accomplish a lot. However, but here in Turkey, where I could indeed write some stuff, so you can check it out on Wattpad, as well as in other things. I mean, I made a lot of TikTok videos, however. So this year was actually indeed very productive. I mean, in that sense, it was a good year. And despite the fact that we are in the pandemic, despite the fact that, with all these variations, with all these things did not really work out properly. But however, I assume and hope that everyone is doing fine, that everyone is well off. It is a tough year indeed. It is. There are some tough times, and hopefully it is the end of it. Hopefully we can all go past it. But again, you never know how things might turn out. However, it is indeed an issue, and one of these big issues this year was indeed the vaccination. I mean, everyone talks about it. I somehow didn't want to mention my opinion too openly, out of the simple reason because I think there has been said a lot. However, what I want to say, and indeed, I mean, I don't want to some sort of attack right away any anti-vaxxers, because those people who might be against vaccination, it is true that some of them fall prey to any sorts of conspiracy theories, that some of them have a wrong notion about what the vaccine does and what it does not. However, what it is, and this is something which indeed is vital and crucial, that the discussion about vaccine and whether the state can enforce on you to get vaccination, it is indeed a question about freedom as well. And I would not say that all of those anti-vaxxers or all of those people who are against vaccination, or that in a way that there should be a force to be vaccinated. I think that many people, or some, they are maybe against state intervention. I mean, I myself am worried that this state can force someone to get the vaccine shot. It is indeed, I mean, especially after what I have experienced in Austria, in Vienna, these things are indeed dire. These things are indeed worrisome, and this is indeed understandable, of course, from every point of view. And this is, I think it is some sort of wrong, in a way assume, or in a way some sort of swept aside any critique what people have against anti-vaxxers and so on and so forth. No, it is indeed some sort of worrying, very worrying. There are indeed some developments in Austria, which I partially have talked about it. I talked about it in my novels, as well as I in other instances. These things, they are indeed very worrisome. And after what you have experienced, what I have experienced in Austria, you want to be very careful whom you some sort of in trust your freedom, because this is a big issue, and how much the state can interfere in your life and not. So I mean, indeed that through all these vaccinations there are some concerns indeed, that, but however, if you only see that some vaccinated people still have COVID, it is indeed questionable how far the state can go to enforce these things, and you have to always be aware. And I think that the left could have easily some sort of assuaged warnings and assuaged tensions what some people might have who are not per se opposed against the vaccine, and people who indeed believe that there is a COVID, but however who do not want to hand over so much power to the government. They do not want that government to interfere in their lives so much, and this is indeed something which I would say this is understandable, and you cannot some sort of sweep aside in it. And the left some sort of acted very stupidly, acted very non-collegial, non-smart, or stupid again, if you want, because they made out of this some sort of identity. So those people who get vaccinated became then at once some sort of those leftists, or those who do not get the shot at once were then some sort of stigmatized, that they are far left, that they are conspiracy theorists, and that they some sort of, in that sense, would be against the vaccine and so on, which I do not assume, which I do not think that it is true. Quite the contrary. If you had COVID, which I had, it is real, indeed. I mean, it is real in that sense. I would say that for some, and this is again something understandable as well, for some people, COVID or all those variations, they does not seem to do much harm, whereas for others it is very harmful. And indeed, you have to understand some people's warnings and precaution as well. If they say, yeah, it is nothing but a flu, it is nothing but for some people it is nothing but as a flu. So why is all this fuss about this? I mean, this is indeed understandable, and I think the left could have done a lot in a way to assuage people that there are some who have problems. Indeed, they some sort of said it. I mean, indeed, I know, of course, that they made it aware that some might need the vaccine more than others. But there, I think there played a lot of stupid maneuvers of the left, which actually led to the fact that more and more people oppose them, not the vaccine, but the that there should be a vaccine mandate, that it should be forced upon everyone and so on. So I'm against it too. I mean, despite the fact that I know and have felt that COVID is real, thinking anything against it is stupid. Stupid in that sense. I mean, it is not like that. In Austria, the left tried to infect people with unreal diseases. I mean, they went for it. This is pretty much clear. This was pretty much apparent. So that there can not be any doubt about the reality of COVID, because it was meant to inject harms. It was meant to harm people in the beginning. So whatever it is, I mean, it is indeed serious. And again, I think in this year, again, leftist ideology and this identity politics, again, over and over, proved how harmful they truly is. Because as a politician, you have to be able to talk to the people, no matter whether they are your constituents, no matter whether they have voted for you. These people have to assume and think that you are capable, that you know what you are doing. And if you some sort of drive on the course of identity politics, if you want to some sort of play the ball to your supporters, then I don't know, then nothing good comes out of it, and nothing good will come out of it. So this is pretty much clear. This was pretty much apparent. So I would indeed blame some of the faults why so many people are not vaccinated on the left as well. I mean, it's again this stupid identity politics, this ideology, us versus them. It did not help anyone. It did not help anyone at all. Quite the contrary, because now more than ever, and especially after what happened, I mean, you don't want the government interfere in your life too much. I mean, I don't want that anymore. After what I've experienced in Vienna, this was pretty much hideous. I mean, I think more than ever, the government and has lost trust. More than ever, people some sort of feel they cannot trust their political constituencies. They cannot trust people who are being perceived part of the political elite. And indeed, I mean, it would have been, or it could have, or you could have assuaged people's caution or people's wariness with some smooth words and so on. And I think this was some sort of missing. And the left, they only just blamed others. The left only some sort of accused the far right that they would some sort of contribute to a conspiracy atmosphere and so on and so forth. And besides, in Austria as well as in Germany, there are many far left groups who actually were against the vaccine, who even supported conspiracy theories. In Great Britain, the brother of Jeremy Corbyn, he is one of those conspiracy theorists who do not believe in the existence of COVID and so on and so forth. So this was indeed part of their own agenda as well, or within their own ranks. There are indeed some issues which are worrisome, which is indeed worrisome, and you have to be aware of one thing, and this is, if you do not oppose, or if you mind me saying this is that this entire vaccine, or what I always feared, was that this entire vaccination issue would some sort of being fought on the back on migrants. I mean, if you read some of the news lately, what I feared actually started. I mean, this is now migrants in Austria as well as in Germany have to hold or are being led on a dangerous pathway, or that they more and more became some sort of scapegoats. This is again something very, very tiresome. Because I mean, somehow we can never really overcome racism. I mean, and this is for a fact. I mean, the reason why there is a vaccine is actually that migrants donated their blood plasma, and this is for a fact, and that migrants are indeed the cause for this vaccine, or that we have a vaccine. And this was pretty much hideous. I mean, this is again something who are afraid of too much interference, and some people who some sort of do not want to share their personal information with the state, and I would warmly suggest you should not. I mean, this is again something what many people feared that if you some sort of get vaccinated, that you would share personal data with the state, and now some people will say, yeah, so what? I mean, yeah, of course you would share some personal data, and yeah, what is the big fuss of it? Well, I can tell you what the big fuss of it. I mean, if we some sort of wanna talk about how this vaccine came about, I mean, this was because migrants donated their blood plasma to the state for the well-being, and if you some sort of donate your blood plasma, you are some sort of listed, you are blacklisted, and it can happen, which happened to me, that when you donate your blood, when you donate your plasma, that you some sort of land on a list of probable organ donators, and then some organ traffickers, they may get aware of you, what happened to me, and then your life is in danger. I know, this now sounds very harsh, and now sounds very unbelievable, but this was the fact in Austria, and this is the reason, I mean, why I never really wanted to donate my plasma, because then you are always some sort of encouraging people to get rid of you, and this was not of a lack of trying. I mean, this was sometimes indeed very hideous, where people tried to get rid of me while I was donating my plasma, and this even because despite the fact that my plasma some sort of is the vaccine, or contributed a lot to the development of the vaccine. So this is indeed something hideous, and it was always hideous, and this of course makes me very, very cautious to trust the government, to trust people, and I indeed understand, and this is the reason why I understand that so many people are against vaccines, because despite the fact that I know and that COVID exists, I am pretty much doubtful whether you will ever get the real vaccine. I mean, imagine what happened in Austria. In Austria, where migrants were poisoned so that they should not have children. They were sterilized and so on. And this pretty much happened in Austria, and in Austria as well, as these people would put poison in the water and so on. I mean, this is madness. I mean, you would not believe this, and I would not believe this, and it took a while until I some sort of started to open my eyes and say, well, this is heavy, this goes too far, and now if people sort of tell you should get vaccinated, then I would say, well, will I ever get the true vaccine? Or you could as well as get poison and so on and so forth. I mean, this is indeed scary, and this is something I would say the left could have done a lot to assuage these tensions. I mean, I think especially in Austria as well as in Germany, the left acted very unwisely, stupidly, in a way, some sort of further contributed to the division within the society. And I think with some of you soothing words, you could have accomplished a lot, but again, their identity politics, their ideologies, they were then in the way, and this is actually one of the reasons why we will not really accomplish anything. And if you some sort of force the people, then this will get even worse, because now more than ever people might fear if the state interferes in your life, what might happen to you, and so on and so forth. I mean, indeed, there is a lot of conspiracy theories. Indeed, there is a lot of degenerates who some sort of gain or try to gain public support, favor. I mean, this is more than ever. This is like what happened in Brexit. I mean, there are a lot of idiots who some sort of knew that Brexit was a bad idea, but they thought it would not happen either way, but they tried to some sort of gain favor. They tried to gain public appeal, and then it all went down, and those people in the UK, they were the ones who then suffered a lot, because Brexit, after the pandemic is over, and even now during the pandemic, I mean, this is the impact of Brexit will become even more severe because of the pandemic. However, it is, and this happened with vaccine again. I mean, again, some stupid people try to gain public appeal. You cannot change that. I mean, this is human mind. This is human. This is how some people tick, because at least after Machiavelli, we know that in politics there are maybe not enough moral values and so on. However, but even Machiavelli said that a good leader, a count, should have some virtues to believe in, because or else it would all become dangerous, meaningless, if you only crave for power without any moral or without any principles. I mean, if you just want to have power no matter what, then you will not be a very happy person, and as well as you will harm your countrymen, you will harm your own people, and those who love their country, those who love their people will not try to harm them in a way. However it is, but the truth be told, so the left could have indeed assuaged a lot of these thoughts, a lot of these unwillingness. I mean, but again, I mean, I only can speak for myself, or I partially understand why people are against it. I mean, it all does not look good. I mean, all those pharmacy or big pharma tech who gain millions because of this vaccine. I mean, and you some sort of ask yourself, self, yeah, why do you need 3-4 shots? Why can't you have just one or two? And this is all weird stuff. I mean, this is all some sort of questionable. I mean, should we have waited a little bit with the vaccine? Should we have some sort of waited until some of those mutations would have some sort of taken on, and so on and so on. So it is a lot of issue, a lot of, I would say, a lot of stuff which was just happened unwisely, which we shouldn't actually, as a politician, you should know how to talk to people. You should know how to some sort of soothe their discomfort, some sort of give them guidance. And this was indeed something I would say was missing, because everyone was playing identity politics. I mean, it is indeed true. This is something we have to admit as well. If you some sort of being elected into in a crisis, then these things not easy, because then you have to handle some sort of a crisis. Especially if you are in the middle of it, you have to make some sort of promises, even though you do not know where this is going to end. You have to some sort of offer people some solutions. But however, I mean, some solutions you have offered would have been able to some sort of or you could have been able to deliver some of those solutions if you would have been a good politician, if you would have been someone who is able to talk with people, or if you are being able to even some sort of gather and garner support within your own party, then things would have been possible. You could have accomplished a lot, and this was actually not the case in that sense, or not all of it. So there was indeed a lot of issues. There was indeed some things which I would say was not very carefully thought through, and it is then sad, because the more you some sort of, I mean, this is something we know in politics as well, the more you some sort of try to move forward, the more you drive a wedge into the society, the more this issue about vaccine becomes some sort of the main breaking point, cleavage, where then people identity themselves with either way, and so on. So a lot of stuff happened, and I would say this was not necessary. I mean, given that this is now the second year of the pandemic, or the second year of the pandemic ends. I mean, you should have known at least how to talk with people, how to assuage attention, how to some sort of garner support within the society. I would say that those people who are against the vaccine, they are not per se against the vaccine, but just they don't want that the left or some state organs gain too much power, because it really appears that way. I mean, you never know, I mean, who is gaining of it, I mean, what and so forth. I mean, especially after what I've experienced in Austria, I got really scared. I mean, the more state intervention, or how much state intervention, how much force is the state allowed to some sort of put on you, pressure you. I mean, and I was scared in that sense. But I will change my view, because we have to go on some sort of, but there is a light, I guess. Now I have to go to the other window, because it is better there. Yeah. Now it is indeed a lot of stuff. I mean, you have to ask yourself, and I think it was indeed scary. I mean, scary in that sense. Some idiot. And unnecessary indeed, and it was some sort of a loss, and I would say that politics once more showed that you really have to have a handling for politics, that you really have to have an understanding of politics, and without it you won't get far, and I think that this is something we learned or came about and understood, that without or that we some sort of are suffering from weak politicians, that we are indeed suffering from people who are not capable of convincing people of a good way. And this is, I think, very important, that you have as a politician, you need to have the skill to convince people from your way, because the most people might not know what you know, because as a politician mostly you have more insight, you have more, I think now it gets too loud, you need to have more insight, or you have more insight, you know more, and then of course you need to convince people from your way, and so on and so forth. So it is all not easy. It is all a lot of things to do. But this was our year. It was, from my point of view, it was indeed very productive. So I can only speak for myself indeed. I don't know how you are doing. I mean, it was not very easy. Assume it is never easy. It is always very difficult. The struggle, the economic struggle. I mean, here in Turkey, with the fall of the lira, it was not easy for everyone, because of the rising inflation. Food prices rose significantly. I mean, and this was indeed a big issue, and is still a big issue in Turkey, and it will be a big issue next year throughout the world. Rising inflation, so because the pandemic goes then in the third year. I mean, this is, again, we have to imagine. So this is now 3 years or even more. So who knows what, who knows what, and where this is going to end, and maybe hopefully next year this will come to an end. But I do not see that a forced mandate of that if you force people to get vaccine shots, that they will do in the end. So this is the wrong way. This is where, if you can't convince people from your way, if you can't convince people from your path, this is then where you have to. This is skating in indictment of politics, that people do not trust them anymore, and this is I think is the big loss. This is, I think, what people in the end lost. However, I mean, so this was the year. I hope that you all were fine, that it went good for everyone. I mean, again, it was all not easy. Everyone struggled through. Everyone some sort of tried to go through this time in a way or another. I mean, it is a struggle, and it seems that the struggle is not over. That we still have to go through this. But I still hope and I believe that it is possible without losing someone's freedom, without losing or derailing the institutions of democracy. democracy. So it is possible. This is indeed possible, and it will be possible when we all stick together. But with force, you do not accomplish anything, because if you force people now, you will most certainly get the receipt in the next election, and then we are back again. So what we need, and what we crave for is a solution which lasts, and which should not some sort of swept us aside at when the next election is due. But however, so we will have to talk about it later on as well. So I hope we can successfully talk about it. So I hope that you all are being around next year. So I hope that you all are healthy and that we see us next year again. So this was Adam Kirbas from Ordu in Turkey. I wish you all the best and happy New Year. Bye.